Are we live? Am I live? Am I? Hold on. Hard workout stream. I think we're live. Oh, we. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm about to go on YouTube real quick. Hold on. Before I stream, I gotta clean this up a little bit. The garage is messy. Really messy. I gotta clean this up a little bit. Ow, shoot. Let me see. This garage is messy. I swear. Hold on, I gotta hang up my clothes, my gi. Let me see, where's my... Let me see if I'm streaming. RBS. Hari. Oh shoot. I'm streaming right now, that's crazy. Oh shoot. I'm streaming right now. Wow, I'm on the screen. Wow, that's crazy. Oh shoot. I'm streaming right now. Wow, I'm on the screen. Wow, that's crazy. Oh shoot. I'm streaming. Okay, that's a little too loud. Wow, are you serious right now, bro? Okay. Seems like it's time to work out. Well, first, this is what I do. Oh, let me see if I can mute this. Come on, mute this. Dude, what is that black screen in the thing? That black box. Dude.
Okay, well, usually when I'm streaming, I usually put on some YouTube. I mean, not when I'm streaming.
So I can get your IG?
I usually put on some YouTube, either some Christian education or some like gameplay.
Real life female, we have a problem. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, hoodie up.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, Chad. I flaked yesterday, bro. But listen. It's not my fault, okay?
I waited a couple hours after texting you. You never responded to me. You e-stood me up on our e-date that you invited me to. And on top of that, you viewed my Instagram story.
Okay. Let's see. You got touched by it. Where's the Christian education videos at? Let's see. What is this? Talking to college students about Jesus.
2023. That's what social media. So you think Jesus would sit down with her? She just said, "Suck her private."
That's disgusting.
Back to my body, and I'm crying. And again, I know this strikes unbelief in people, but this is my story. And literally, my hands have like dirt in them. Like dirt is coming out of my eyes. And do you?
You're about to watch some Ruslan, some Bless God Studios. Either, yeah. Scariest. Jesus is appearing in dreams to millions of people. Oh, hold on. I'm supposed to be... I know what I'm supposed to watch. Hold on. It's that one video. Mike Tyson. Inspiring philosophy. That's what, yeah. Cool. Inspiring. Bro, I didn't even spell inspiring correct. Philosophy. There we go. There we go. Yeah. This is what I'm supposed to watch. Okay, let's get to working out. Okay.
TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world.
Okay, right here.
I am
Let's get some curls in.
really interested in this Bill Maher, Mike Tyson clip we're about to watch. I was watching it a few days ago and then saw
I get the gloves.
Bill Maher once again sharing his view that Jesus is a myth. And I thought,
what is this black
as
thing?
soon as he mentioned Christmas, I thought, man, I really got to get Inspiring Philosophy on here with me. Because you kind of, you seem to get annoyed at that, don't you?
It's become a pet peeve of mine, and it started simple. It was like, hey guys, do a little research and found out Christmas has no pagan origin. Not a big deal. It's just Christmas. Who cares?
What's the chat?
And then, like, fundamentalists after fundamentalists, like, dug their heels in and was like, no, it is. And then atheists dug their heels in. No,
Bro, what is this thing?
Guys, this is such a silly thing. Why are you digging your heels in? I mean, here's the data. This is just obviously not pagan. And then I start getting frustrated because they were getting angry, and now it's just become a whole thing. It's like, Why would
Oh,
we
shoot,
figure
my eyes
over
itchy.
something so silly? But no, they still insist it's pagan, even though there's no evidence of it.
Yeah, now I haven't followed enough Bill Maher to know exactly.
Let's get some curls in.
But it sounds like he thinks Jesus was just a mythical figure. Like, I don't know if he believes there was some historical figure, because all of the main things that would be agreed upon by historians, like Jesus' death on the cross, he attributes to Christians copying pagan myths about these earlier gods being crucified.
Like, which is silly, because crucifixion was a relatively new thing. Like, that's
We
why
curl in
it's
20s.
the Old Testament.
I don't curl.
'cause it
I can
just
curl
existed when it
40s,
was being written.
30s.
Maybe towards like the end.
I can rep 40s, like 5 reps.
No, it,
But, you know, I think
it was
20
Like, there was no evidence of any
20
deity
pounds
being
is
crucified
the
before
perfect
Jesus.
And I
weight
remember
for
this was a
gain.
long time ago.
It's
And
just the best feeling.
It's back when they, like 2005, 2006, these pagan myths nonsense was going around. And anytime you looked up some specific claim,
Let me set up my-
I don't remember which
Let me set up my
pagan
things.
deity it supposedly was, but the claim was, and this pagan deity was born of a virgin. I went and looked it up, and he was supposedly born from a rock, right? Like a rock.
Mithra.
Yeah, so this deity sprang from a rock, right? But they don't say sprang from a rock. They're like, oh, but the rock didn't have sex, so the rock is a virgin, and so therefore we can run out and say, born of a virgin. And like, if you were a fan of this pagan myth stuff, if I were to see that, I would be like, whoa, I really need to proceed carefully here. If people are toying with the evidence like this and saying, oh, well, the rock didn't have sex, therefore the rock's a virgin, therefore we can run out and say Mithras was born from a virgin, just like Jesus, and Jesus was copied from that when it's a rock. I would really start going, wait a minute, maybe I need to investigate this for myself, because these guys don't seem to be terribly honest with the way they're presenting this stuff.
Yeah, and even this year, there was some man on TikTok I responded to who said that same thing, that Mithra was born of a rock, therefore it was a virgin. I was like, we're still doing this in 2022. Oh my God.
That's what's really disturbing about this. It's like it doesn't matter how many times you correct. Like right before we went live, you and I mentioned that you were familiar with Bill Maher like 10 years ago putting this stuff out, and people blasted him for it, pointing out that he has no clue what he's talking about. He's spreading complete nonsense. And so we would assume that at some point he just, quietly abandoned that stuff. And yet, I see this clip with Mike Tyson, and he's spouting the exact same nonsense, the same stuff that's been refuted and debunked over and over and over again. And I guess the takeaway is, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. And so the interesting part is that you've got these modern atheists, and they're pointing fingers at Christians. Ha ha, you dummies, you just believe in myths. Unlike us, where we just go with the evidence points, and everything he's spouting is a complete myth. And he just doesn't care. And it's I don't know, I find it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, this is an experiment in human psychology that I've been doing for years with this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter how many times you correct them, they're still going to believe it, because humans, unfortunately, we can often believe what we want and not what the data shows. And we got to try to force ourselves to follow the data as much as we can. But
If you have a muscle imbalance,
apparently that's harder, I guess.
you start with the left.
Yeah, and
or
it's
with your non-dominant hand.
It would be one thing if if atheists came out and said, yeah, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about all atheists. I'm talking about the atheists who keep doing this, right? Keep doing this particular thing, where they will spout complete nonsense, and it can be pointed out to them 1,000 times, and they just don't care. It would be one thing if they were to say, this is actually similar to like Sam Harris. He got in trouble for saying, I wouldn't care if Hunter Biden had the bodies of children in his basement. I don't care. The important thing is taking down Trump, right? And he got in trouble for that. But I mean, I wanted to make a video about this, but that's actually there's something really important going on, because what he was saying was, like, Trump is such a threat that integrity and fair elections, that's all out the window because he's so bad. Now, I'm actually one of the few people who partly agrees. I agree that there could be someone so bad that's like, okay, we're not fighting fair anymore. Like Bonhoeffer and so on. Say, hey, look, okay, I'm a Christian. I believe in submitting to political authorities and stuff. This guy's so bad. I'm gonna go murder him, right? So you had like Christians saying, what do we do about Hitler? And there were people who said, no, this is so bad that even though we normally submit to authority, this is too bad. We can't play fair here anymore. So there could be something like that. Now, so the question is whether you think that Trump is so bad that you're no longer gonna play fair. But anyway, what I found fascinating is, as far as relevance to what we're talking about right now, is as he's talking about that, he's saying this is so bad. This would be so bad for the country that you can't play fair anymore. If you didn't squash stories, it wouldn't matter what Biden, what Hunter, what any of these guys are doing, as long as you win, that's what's most important. But then he also said, a younger Sam Harris would say that Christianity taking over countries is the worst thing that could happen. But now it's this. And I thought, wait a minute. Because you've been spouting complete nonsense for years. And I'm thinking, wait, is that what you've always been doing? It's like, wait a minute. In other words, like 15 years ago, was Christianity just so bad that you didn't feel like you had to be honest? Because he's saying that's his methodology, right? If some guys, normally we would want to be reasonable and go over the evidence points and be fair and open-minded. But if something is especially bad, all that goes out the window, and you just have to win by any means necessary. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if kids are being killed as long as you win. And it's like, wait a minute, is that what you've always been doing?
Oh, there's a great book. It's written by an atheist, Nathan Johnstone, called The New Atheist History. He points out a lot of these issues, responds to Sam Harris on these kind of things, and points out this is a very dangerous thing they're doing, because we saw a lot of similar practices, this anti-religious practice in the USSR, things. So, he's an atheist too. So again, not coming from a Christian, but I highly recommend this book.
And there were always atheists like Michael Ruse and so on who were responding to the new atheists, going, guys, your arguments are really bad and sloppy, and this isn't the way to go. But it was the way to go, right? Because the new atheists found out if you can just rev up everyone's emotions, then you don't need the best argument. So even Sam Harris, the book, was it In the End of Faith? He said that the vast majority of history's religions were fought over religion. And when actual historians say it's around 6% of history's wars were fought over religion. So notice, it's 6% is the reality, and over half of those are from Islam. But about 6% of history's wars fought over religion. And he's telling his followers the vast majority are fought over religion. And there just doesn't seem to be, it just doesn't seem to care, right? that he's massively misrepresenting the reality. And again, it would be one thing if these guys were to say, hey, we're biased and we make mistakes, and who knows? Yeah, we're trying. We're gonna get all this wrong. But we're the champions of reason and logic and science, and all you morons, you just go with what you hear. And you never stop and verify what you believe. You just hear and you believe it and pass it on like morons. It's like everything you guys say. Oh boy.
It's exactly everything in this clip that Bill Maher is spewing out. It's just things he's heard. It's crap.
All right, so maybe let's want to go ahead and check some of this out.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Now, those of you in the comments. I'm sorry for not interacting as much with the comments as I have in the past. It's because right now, not for the future, but right now, I'm on a little screen and I have a ton of stuff open, so it's hard to get the comments up on the screen. Normally, I have multiple monitors open on me. I just don't right now. So normally multiple monitors, and I can see the comments and so on. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and check out some of Bill Maher. And this is really, it's interesting because this is Bill Maher talking to Mike Tyson. He can tell very quickly that Mike Tyson, and for the rest of this entire live stream, let me say I love Mike Tyson. I grew up when Mike Tyson was in his prime, and awesome fighter before he,
996.
And I really
996.
I think he's a pretty deep down. He's a pretty guy who's been through some messed up stuff, and I can relate to that because that's a lot of people I know.
999.
Anyway, Bill Maher realizes very quickly that Mike doesn't know a lot.
That was it.
He can say whatever he wants, and then Bill Maher takes advantage of it. But let's go ahead and look a little bit at it.
You believe in Jesus? You believe in Prophet Muhammad?
Well, I definitely don't believe in Jesus. Okay, that's cool.
Do you?
Why not?
Why not?
I'm just curious.
I think the better question is why? Why would I? Because I'm not 10.
It's time to get serious.
Okay? Because, I mean, it's obviously an
Alright, let's
ancient
really get
myth,
serious.
and
Right off the bat,
I'm not 10.
right off the bat, the condescending nature of some of these anti-theists like Bill Maher is beyond belief. Just like, I mean, think of all of the scientists like Francis Collins or like professional philosophers that have done great work, like from Richard Swinburne to Alvin Planting up. They're all 10
Oh my
they're all
goodness.
that immature and stupid. Like, just the condescending nature you get. Could you
Oh my,
imagine, like,
what? That's an insane pump. What the?
10.
Hold on now.
10. It was
Hold on.
incredibly condescending to the very
Hold on.
professional people that have
Hold on.
PhDs and are experts
Hold
in
on.
the fields just assume they don't know what they're talking about. You get this from a lot of anti-theists, and it just really just shows, they go on to say that these two are very immoral. This is very immoral. Like later, Bill will say in the clip, talk about how immoral religions
That pump is
are.
insane.
How condescending is this, Bill? Like,
What's my
it's
percentage
incredibly
at?
condescending
What
and
is it,
immoral
16?
when you treat other people,
Dude, what
like
is
they're
this
immature idiots
black
just because
mark?
they have different beliefs.
What is that?
Yeah, and I really think because
Okay. Let's get in some
there are a
curls.
lot of atheists who aren't like that, and it's something where it just seems like that's what was easy to sort of weaponize. You know what I mean? Like you had. I was an atheist in the 90s, and I knew maybe 4 or 5 other kids in the school who were atheists in my high school. We all had sort of the same. Okay, yeah, you guys are not
Oh my
terribly bright
gosh.
for believing this stuff, but who really cares? It's not like it has any effect on us. Whereas then the major shift with the new atheists was if we get everyone's emotions riled up because Christianity is coming to destroy you and it's going to destroy science, it's going to destroy the world, it's going to oppress you, and it's going to take away, they're going to come after atheists and so on, and they're all stupid and they all just believe in these myths like 10-year-olds, like little kids with daddy issues and so on. So we have to destroy this, or we're all going to die. And that's what actually works. It's like the less rational and the less careful you are, the more it works in the age of the internet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, so we want to keep watching Bill here.
Let's get the good lighting. Good lighting.
even the Jesus
So we can
story,
clickbait.
his biography, is completely unoriginal. All the gods that came before him had like the same birthday.
And the same story, though, as well.
Same story, the same, yes, disciples, like 12 people. Many of them were crucified.
So that is the same Jesus.
Hang on, dude. Now I'm gonna interpret that as so notice
Okay, we back.
it's gone from
I actually don't
again I'll take that as
press the
hyperbole.
power button.
But
We got one streamer. We got one person watching.
before it was, look at this God, and he shares this element, and look at that God, he shares that element. But now the time, after being
Look at
refuted
nice.
on this for years, he's to the point, everyone had the same story beforehand. 12 disciples, crucifixion. Matter of fact, let me give, this is a quote. Let me give the quote here. This is from his movie Religulous, claiming that the Jesus story wasn't original. So he doesn't go into a lot of detail with Mike Tyson, but he does. He goes into more in Religulous, where he actually gives details. So he says, written in 1280 BC, the Egyptian Book of the Dead describes a god, Horus. Horus is the son of the god Osiris, born to a virgin mother. He was baptized in a river by Anup the Baptizer, who was later beheaded. Like Jesus, Horus was tempted while alone in the desert, healed the sick, the blind, cast out demons, and walked on water. He raised Asar from the dead. Asar translates to Lazarus.
We got a good
Oh
pump.
yeah.
We got a
He
good
also
pump.
had 12 disciples. Yes, Horus was crucified first, and after 3 days, 2 women announced Horus, the savior of humanity, had been resurrected. Now, those are very, very specific claims all of a sudden. Like he's
Hammer,
going into lots of
pearls.
detail, like every
We're on like the
detail
second set. This is the
about the
second
life
set
of
of
Jesus matches
all
up
3 workouts we just did.
with
I just did.
Horus.
So let's get it.
Yeah, it's all BS, and he should know this by now. She said that there were gods before Jesus that were born on December 25th. That's just demonstrably false. We have no text that mention any deity born on December 25th. Or birthday celebrated on December 25th prior to Jesus. The only early source that mentions a deity's birthday on December 25th is in something called the Philocalian calendar, which dates to 354 AD. Now that's post-Constantine, and it says, all it says is 30 games ordered for the world may be unconquered one. And we think that's probably a reference to the sun god, and it's possible that it's plausible actually that pagans moved a sun celebration to December 25th to actually compete with Christians, not the other way around.
So we do.
He mentioned earlier Christians having, or earlier pagan deities having 12 disciples. Again, no texts say that. There are no deities that were ever crucified, like Horus. I mean, that's just nonsense. I mean, I don't know where this stuff comes from and why it keeps getting repeated, but it's just one of those lies that's spread around the internet and no one ever facts check it.
And again, I mean, it's similar to Islam in that if you look at a lot of Islamic apologetics, a lot of it's just total nonsense, right? Like so. You know, if you argue as a Muslim that there's a creator and so on, then okay, you can make your case there. A lot of what the Dawah gangs use is complete deception. Like if you say that the Quran has been perfectly preserved right down to the letter and that there's no difference anywhere between any two Quran manuscripts, that's completely, totally, idiotically false, and every Muslim scholar on the planet knows it's false. And yet, it's what they tell their followers, and what they found is that if you're in an atmosphere of ignorance where no one knows anything about Islam, you could say whatever you want. So you can say to a feminist, Muhammad is the greatest feminist who ever lived. And if you're talking to a guy who hates feminism, Muhammad is the only thing that can save you from feminism. You could just adapt your message to whatever people like. And so you can spread a lot of completely false things if you're in an atmosphere of ignorance. And so notice, if you're walking up to Christians 15 years ago and you say, did you know about Horus, who was baptized by this guy who was later beheaded and he had 12 disciples and all that? Christians don't know about any of that stuff, so they just go, what? And anyway, it just spreads really, really rapidly. And it's just amazing that this is coming from the people who claim to be against spreading nonsense, and yet they're the new champions of complete nonsense.
Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense in this, but let's I even see, unfortunately, some atheists I know online. Like I've seen stuff on MythVision, unfortunately, and I like MythVision, but sometimes he interviews some people, and I'm like, what? But they're trying to push a more, I guess I would say, scholarly approach to this idea that Jesus is sort of based off pagan deities, or like he's a Jewish version of like some dying and rising motif from the ancient world, something like that. And it's bad. Let's look at a couple of these deities. We will get how bad this is. So let's take, for example, they'll say Inanna. I mean, in the clip that Bill Maher's about to go through, he's going to make a Sumerian text. So Inanna was an ancient Sumerian deity, Akkadian Ishtar.
We're done.
And some modern atheists will claim that she was also a dying and rising god, that she was dead 3 days and 3 nights. I've seen atheists make this claim within the past few months. They'll cite a text called Inanna's Descent to the Netherworld, or Inanna's Descent, and they'll say, in that text, she descends to the Netherworld, she's dead, she does something like a crucifixion where she's hung, and she's dead for 3 days and 3 nights. Anytime someone tells you Inanna was dead for 3 days and 3 nights, has not read Inanna's Descent. It does not say she was dead for 3 days and 3 nights. They're taking it out of context. What it says is Inanna tells her servant, Ninkaburu, on the day I arrive in the underworld, start making rounds for me, lament for me, get the gods on my side, that kind of thing. Then Inanna descends, and she dies. Then it cuts back to Ninkaburu, and it says, after 3 days and 3 nights, Ninkaburu started making the rounds for Inanna. So the 3 days and 3 nights in that text corresponds to Inanna's descent to the underworld, not her death. Because it's aligned with the text of Ninkaburu making the rounds. So it doesn't say she was dead for 3 days and 3 nights. It refers to how long it took her to get to the underworld. 3 days and 3 nights, and then Ninkaburu started making the rounds, that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, I got ads. I hate ads.
None have escaped the torment of the war.
part. There's your remote.
That kind of thing. It also doesn't mention anything like a crucifixion. She's pronounced dead by the gods of the underworld, and then they take her dead body and they hang it on a hook. Then eventually the god Enki sends down these genderless creatures to resurrect her, kind of, so to speak. But really they just give her some sort of special water or plant, depending on the version you read. And she comes back, and then she's got to spend half the year in the underworld, and someone's got to take her place. Kind of thing. So her descent in that whole structure corresponds not to some sort of physical death and resurrection, but with the vegetation cycles. They'll try to say things like Baal is a dying and rising god. They'll try to make this argument. The problem is all of our texts on Baal are highly fragmented, and scholars are divided
what was the next?
On if Baal is a dying and rising god. Some say he was, some say he wasn't. But there was actually recently an Arabic inscription that was found much later, which references Baal, and it's in a paper called Echoes of the Baal Cycle in Safadi Islamic Inscriptions. And it doesn't say that. It says Baal is cut off indeed, but not dead. So it references the Baal cycle, but it doesn't say he was dead. So he probably isn't even a dying and rising god.
Okay, this is the last set of those 3 exercises, and then we get to triceps,
sort of strong motifs that Christians could have been trying to play with, or turn Jesus into a dying and rising god. And even one of their own scholars, Trygve Medinger, that argues there were dying and rising gods in the motif. He tries to say Baal is, and he makes an interesting case, but I think Mark Smith has a better one. He concludes his book, The Riddle of the Resurrection, saying, there is no evidence for the death of dying and rising gods as vicarious suffering for sins. There is, as far as I'm aware, no prima facie evidence that the death and resurrection of Jesus is a mythological construct drawing on the myths and rites of the dying and rising gods of the surrounding world. The death and resurrection of Jesus retains its unique character in the history of religions. So, Bill Maher is just wrong. Even some guy who argues there may have been dying and rising gods says that the resurrection and death of Jesus is nothing like these motifs or anything. There's no way we could even think that this is some sort of copy or part of the ancient Near Eastern motif of dying and rising gods. The scholarship just doesn't support this notion.
And it's just weird because, think about it. The Romans crucified a lot of people. And if someone were, brought to them as claiming to be some sort of king and so on, or Messiah or something like that, and they were worried, or they just wanted to calm people down. My arms are getting
wider. Wow.
Not a lot to make us think that they wouldn't crucify someone like Jesus. And so it would make perfect sense for Jesus to be crucified. Put it this way. If you're going to say, Jesus was crucified, therefore it must have been stolen from this earlier, this God who was supposedly crucified because the God was put on a hook or something. Are you going to do that with all the crucifixions? Every record we have with people being crucified?
Oh my gosh.
I understand if you're an atheist, a naturalist, you want to avoid the supernatural elements and so on. But the basic story of a guy, and he had, Jesus is going around, he's got his disciples, he gets crucified. A few days later, they're claiming that he rose from the dead. These are things that even atheist scholars regarded as facts about Jesus. But the sort of out-of-touch internet atheists, they're even explaining that stuff away, like historical bedrock of Jesus, and they're tossing that into the myth category and doing a really, really lame job of it.
Well, if Jesus was a copy of these dying and rising motifs, we should see evidence of literary borrowing. We see that Matthew is trying to paint Jesus as another Moses figure. Let me write, people do this today. They try to write, about Barack Obama as if he's a new Abraham Lincoln. People do this all the time. Matthew tries to do this with Jesus. He's a new Moses figure leading Israel to the Exodus or the Promised Land, this kind of thing. So if they were doing that, we should see this type of literary borrowing. To give you a pretty clear example of where this shows up, in the ancient Near East, there's the Epic of Gilgamesh. Everyone knows this tale, and in it there's a flood account. We know that the author of the Epic of Gilgamesh got his flood account from an earlier work called the Atrahasis that also has a flood account. Why? We can see direct evidence of literary borrowing. He's borrowing terms, the way of writing in this specific passage on the flood, literary borrowing. Same with the Gospels. We see they're clearly drawing from the Old Testament. Jesus fulfilled this. Jesus fulfilled that. literary
Five
Bible.
more.
We don't see any evidence of this in the New Testament.
Could be cool.
When it comes to pagan deities. They're not drawing from the tales of Romulus or Asclepius or any of these deities. They're not. And so what mythicists or people who think this motif exists have to go off like these vague associations. Like, oh, well, Asclepius healed people. Jesus healed people. Coincidence? No, because deities did that quite often. It happened. So they'll do things like that. Like Romulus was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. Jesus ascended into heaven. Well, coincidence? Well, yeah, there's a motif in the ancient world of
After
deities
this, we do some
going up
preacher
into
curls.
heaven. I mean, if you're going to
And
go
then
that
we're
far, then the account of Romulus being
Well, we
taken
doing
up to
arms.
heaven
We're
by a
doing
whirlwind
biceps.
is
And
a
then we
copy of
switch
the prophet
the
Elijah
muscle
being
group.
taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. And no scholar
Go
would
to
make that
tricep.
connection.
Yeah, I mean, using this methodology,
I'm gonna poop myself.
you could explain any actually historical figure, right? You could pick any historical figure. So Obama, George W., Biden, Bush. I mean, any of these guys. You could point to any of them, and then find people before them who had similar characteristics and say, you see, it's a copy. This person is a myth. And it's just an insane methodology. And then you look at what they do in order to arrive at that, and how they got to twist all this information about these gods, and just the silliness of it. I mean, one, you had Jesus was obviously a first century Jew. He had followers. He was crucified. His followers were later claiming that he had risen from the dead. If you ask them what's going on here, they're appealing to Old Testament prophecies and to information that was available to everyone, right? So they would say, this wasn't done in a corner. Crucifixion's a public event, and they're saying we're the witnesses of him. And so the information they're sharing about Jesus, it's based on things that people in general knew or things that they knew, and then claims of fulfilling Old Testament prophecy. So the idea that these guys are sitting there, hey, let's pick some details about some of these Egyptian and Sumerian gods, and let's put together a story about our guy. I mean, how does that even get off the ground, right? Like, it's one thing to share a myth and people know that it's a myth, right? It's something else to say, this guy over here, you're saying this in the first century, mind you, this guy over here was just crucified. And it was crucified by Pontius Pilate, and here's all the details about him. That would be very weird, because now you're claiming that it's this historical thing and that there are all these witnesses of it. It just seems like a bit much to get off the ground if you're just putting together this sort of Frankenstein god, right? Because you're taking all these pieces of these other stories of these other gods and combining them into one thing, and then trying to make it sound like a historical figure. And then it's successful. You actually pull it out. You say, hey, we're going to take a bunch of this stuff. I mean, guys, just imagine how difficult this would be if you took a bunch of like Marvel movies or something. You took a little detail about Thor, a little detail about Iron Man. You combined it into something. And that was my neighbor. I mean, I don't know. Good luck trying to get that off the ground. Anyway,
The biggest thing is, the Jews would never have gone for something like that. They were vehemently anti-pagan in that time period. For them to sort of say that, oh yeah, the God of the Old Testament, the God of Israel, Hashem, Adonai, he's actually like this man who came and did all these things that other pagan deities did. It would have been basically blasphemy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had utter contempt for paganism. Like you could go to earlier centuries when they were often flirting with paganism, and God would punish them, and they'd be exiled and so on. But by the first century, they were pretty die-hard. They were pretty much the most anti-pagan people on the planet. And so the idea that the most anti-pagan people on the planet are all going, you know what, we need to adopt all this stuff from these gods and goddesses from centuries ago and really impress people, put together our new Messiah figure. We need to win favor. And I'm pointing this out because that's Bill Maher's position, that they actually took all this stuff, rolled it up into a ball in order to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Should we watch some more of this?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I'll probably back it up a little bit here. Don't want to be accused of taking something out of context here.
You believe in Jesus? You believe in Prophet Muhammad?
Well, I definitely don't believe in Jesus. had like the same birthday.
And the same story, though. As well.
Same story. The same, yes, disciples, like 12 people, many of them were
The
crucified.
Samaritans are saying Jesus the same.
Yeah, they took the stories that were going around the Mediterranean at the time, and they grafted it onto the life of Jesus. I mean, the reason why his birthday is December 25th,
and then I'm gonna go to some push-ups
because that was
the shortest day of the year you were telling.
And so now they're getting into the science behind the.
Okay, here's what I say to people who make that claim, the idea that Jesus his birthday was placed on that date, because it was the shortest day of the year, so that's like the sun returning. Why wasn't his crucifixion placed around that same time as well? Like, if the shortest, they say there's this motif where, like the sun sets around December 23rd or 2nd or something. And then it begins to
back to working
come
out.
back up on the 25th, because,
Gotta do push-ups after this. Better wash my hands. I feel like crap. I feel like absolute. I feel horrible. Physically. Okay, back to some push-ups. We gotta get into some push-ups. And then what else? After that, we gotta do tricep extensions. And then, yeah, after that we do dumbbell press. Y'all won't like it when I do dumbbell press, dude. I be screaming on the last rep. I swear. I be screaming so hard on the last rep.
Why don't have Jesus' crucifixion on December 22nd?
Okay, dumbbell press.
And then his birth.
Let's get it. Oh, no, not dumbbell press.
Why did they do that?
Push-ups.
That would make more sense.
Okay. Let's get my gloves.
And there's no evidence.
You don't want to get my hands dirty. I just wash my hands.
Really works like Hippolytus of Rome in his book Chronicon. He's placing the birthday of Jesus on December 25th because he believed Jesus was conceived on March 25th. So just do the math. In the early church, there was this idea a prophet would die on the same day he was conceived. So if he died on March 25th, he had to be conceived on March 25th. Just count forward 9 months. That's where Christians got the date of December 25th. It had nothing to do with paganism.
Let's go back to that because that is a very strange idea. But ladies and gentlemen, that is apparently the actual origin of this. It wasn't, hey, there's all these gods and goddesses who were born on December 25th. There's not, right? But there was a very strange Jewish belief that very important figures like prophets and so on.
Christian belief. It wasn't. I don't
Just
think
a slight 100. A slight 100 push-ups. We're not gonna do 100 in one go because that's
we're gonna
crazy.
have to. I mean, I would.
But I'm gonna try to go for the most I can do.
But I may have. I've seen someone say that, but I didn't see any verification for that. So
Actually,
it's possible that
before I even do push-ups,
So there
They
was
get
a
some
belief
water.
that important religious figures would be conceived
What the heck?
on the same day that they die. There was some view about this.
Okay. Before we do push-ups, gotta stay hydrated. Hydration is key. Let's fill up my water bottle. Into the water filter. Oh my gosh. Dang. I feel crazy. I feel horrible. I feel horrible, like for real, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. So, let's get some push-ups. I'm gonna drink my water. and then I'm gonna do some push-ups. If I throw up on stream, or anything, if I throw up, don't be surprised. I feel like crazy. I feel crazy. Let's get the video on. Some apologetics.
Cosmic harmony. And so they're doing the math.
Well, so we've been doing bicep for
Jesus is born
30 minutes?
around March 25th.
30? Yeah, 30.
He died
gotta
around
do
March
push-ups.
25th.
I say 100
That
push-ups.
must have been
Should be
the
good.
same date that he was conceived. And so we add 9 months to that to see when he would have been born. You get December 25th. And that looks like where they actually got this. Now notice, it's not something we would agree with. We think I would regard all of that as silly. But they're not saying, so the point is they're not going, let's look at this ancient pagan god. He was born here. Let's go with that. It's, they have a strange belief
Actually, let me widen
about
up.
this weird sort of divine cosmic harmony where these important religious figures are to die on the same day they were conceived. And so you look at that and say, well, that's a silly belief. It's not pagan. It's not a pagan belief. They didn't steal that from the pagans. They had a strange belief. And it's just, anyway, it's just amazing that, hey guys, we actually have a
I feel like
pretty
crap
good
at
idea how
20.
they came up with this.
I can't even do 20.
And
I did 20, but
I mean, you know this.
I'm
you
already
know,
feeling
you
bad
have,
at 20.
Quite a bit of difficulty convincing Christians that this is not stolen from pagans.
Right. I mean, and it's funny because like, there's even like an agnostic pagan historian named Ronald Hutton, and he's like, it's funny, the Romans actually didn't have a holiday on December 25th before Constantine. So they had numerous gods and numerous holidays. Christians just happened to pick a day that we don't actually have any evidence of any holiday on in the Roman Empire until 354 AD.
And interestingly, it's not actually part of Christianity, right? It's like that's something that some later Christians
40.
said, hey, we want to celebrate
40
the birth of
push-ups.
Jesus.
I think it was
He's
40.
acting like, this is from
Maybe
the
like
top.
39,
This is sort of
38.
fashioning this pagan Jesus out of these other pagan stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absurd nonsense.
All right, let's get some more from our good buddy Bill Maher.
Yes, right.
If it's 38 push-ups,
That was the day
I'm gonna
the sun
do 2
started
more.
when days
Wanna
started
take a little
to get
break?
longer again, so that the people in the pagan times celebrated that day because it meant that we're going to live again because the days kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter in the winter.
And why is Jesus so embedded in our brain?
We're going to die. The days are going to get shorter until there's
This is
nothing.
what I want to know. Why is Jesus...
Did I see any?
Now, what's interesting here is Tyson actually raises a very, very important question here. It's easy to overlook because you look at Bill Maher and he just sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And Mike clearly doesn't know much about what Bill Maher is talking about. But Mike, and let me go ahead and rewind it so we listen to exactly what he says. Mike Tyson
Dude,
brings up a very important
what the heck?
So you're saying this is all pagan nonsense.
Why is this?
Why is Jesus so embedded in our brains right now?
What is this black screen on my thing?
All right.
We're going to live again because the days kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter in the winter.
Jesus so embedded in our brain?
We're going to die. The days are going to get shorter until there's
This is
nothing.
what I want to know. Why is Jesus so embedded in so many people's brain? We don't people that are Buddhists at all.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, this is very interesting.
So we can check out Bill Maher's response. The significance of the question. So notice you have all of these pagan
Let's do some more.
gods and goddesses. And
The
so
max we can do.
And
And
Bill
then
Maher's position is, they have all these parallels to Jesus. They don't. But he seems to believe that, these guys are getting baptized and crucified and resurrected, and they've got 12 disciples and so on, and then the guy who baptizes is beheaded, just like John the Baptist.
So like crazy.
He raises a guy whose name actually translates to Lazarus.
I feel horrible.
Total, utter, complete nonsense.
Okay, let's go.
But
Let's go. Let go.
An important question. Well,
Alright.
if all this is pagan
3,
nonsense,
2,
how does it actually work with
1.
Jesus, right? So you had pagan, we got the Egyptian
shoot. I don't even
gods,
feel like doing it.
You got the
But I have
Greeks,
to
the
do it.
Romans, all these ancient Near Eastern gods and goddesses and so on. And then Jesus is just supposedly a ripoff, as many people rip off other things. How does he become like the most important figure in all of history? If it's just something you jumbled together. In other words, if you did it, why is this one guy so radically different from all the other myths? You're saying
Let's get 10 more in.
Jesus is a myth like all these
We
other
did 20.
myths, and yet
Let's do 30.
Jesus becomes the most important figure in history when none of these pagan myths. So why is Jesus so different?
I'm about to cry.
Anything you want to comment on there, IP, before we look at Mars' response?
Well, we can see Mars' response, but I mean, he's going to try to say that, it's better for, the poor and underprivileged. And to an extent, he's right. Christianity, as scholar like David De Silva pointed out, Christianity welcomed women, slaves, the poor, anyone could come in, and it grew through that mostly in the first few centuries, is that people felt accepted in Christianity because it actually treated them human. It had radical views, that we're all equal in Christ. You read the book of Philemon, for example. It talks about slaves are your equal as well. You just can't mistreat this. This is your brother in Christ. You need to treat them like an equal. So David argued that this was actually...
We gotta do 30 more to get to 100.
Norms in the ancient world and making new
30, that's it. 30.
Equality.
Just 30.
And of course,
it
spread because it actually treated people like equals, and because I would argue
Just
that it had a
30%.
lot of good evidence early on for its support. It had eyewitnesses. It had people that actually saw Jesus rose. It wasn't just something that they were making up.
Just 30
But
push-ups. That's
a
it.
tough-
That's all.
30
more.
Push this. I want to push a button real quick.
Why is the screen frozen?
But I don't know what this is going to do.
Oh no.
Well, never mind. Okay. It did not put us.
Oh, it's frozen like that.
Oh,
I thought I was
Well,
tweaking.
never mind. Okay. It did not put us on the screen. I'm trying to figure out how to get us on the screen because I don't remember how to use this. But all right, let's go ahead and check out Bill Maher's response.
Oh no, I'm not.
Scholarship done.
Never mind.
There were
Pause.
lots of
I love that. Well,
Okay.
as I've been examining the
30
scholarship
more,
on this.
and then we good.
Come on, Bill.
All right, 30 more.
Sitting there
Let's go.
going through scholarship on this stuff. Let me rewind it because it's so funny to me.
There's some
This
very
morning.
interesting scholarship done on this. There were lots of religions at the time. Of course, there are many that preceded Christianity. The reason why that one caught on is because, partly is because they grafted these familiar elements.
I've been streaming for
onto it, like
53
his
minutes.
birthday, and stuff like that, and he's coming back to life. That was an old story. But part of it that was revolutionary was his message that when it really gets good for you is in the afterlife. Now, we're talking about a Roman Empire that was at least half slaves. I mean, people think slavery was...
Ooh, arms on the cold floor.
It was not. No. Everybody...
So now we have Bill educating us on the idea. For anyone who thought that slavery was invented by America, we have Bill Maher correcting us. But let's let him finish here.
In the Bible had them. The word slave comes from Slav, and there's nobody whiter in the world than Slavs. That slavery has been around since the beginning of time, and mostly it wasn't even a racial thing, simply because people weren't living in an area where there were people of other races. It's just human nature, brutal human nature, to make other people your slave if you possibly can.
Now, he's actually correct about that, right? It's a long history of slavery here in this world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's absolutely correct about that. That's not Christian, and he is partially right. I mean, Christianity did they cared about the poor, the needy,
Some more, we got 100.
and the women. They didn't treat them like property at the time, and this is something that scholars like Tom Holland, Rodney Stark, David De Silva pointed out, that Christianity was actually very much focused on helping people and not just about collecting sacrifices or.
Oh, this is bad.
Or the
Five more, come on, five more.
In fact, actually, Tom Holland tells a funny story that there was an apostate emperor later after Constantine named Julian, who was a pastor, and he wrote to the temples and said, like, why aren't you out feeding the poor and caring for the sick and doing these things? Why did he do that? Because he was raised Christian, and he thought that's what religious institutions were supposed to do.
I'm about to die.
Of course, the pagans didn't do that, because that was a Christian.
I'm about to die.
That wasn't a pagan religion. But Julian was confused, being raised Christian was now a pagan, why the pagans didn't do the same thing as the Christians did. And so, well, it's because the Christians really didn't care for people and actually went out and took care of people when there were plagues. Went to the brothels and would rescue the children before they were committed infanticide, these kinds of things. So, I mean, yeah, it did help it grow because it was a religion based on charity.
And, this is actually important because if you look at what you just actually said, it actually contradicts what he's saying, because he's pointing out, he's saying that since Christianity came along and said, hey guys, if you believe in Jesus, then the afterlife is going to be really good. So it doesn't matter if you're poor, abused, slaves right now. And so you pointed out that there's an element of truth to that, right? People were hearing this, saying, "Hey, you believe in Jesus? You're on the same ground with everyone else." But as you just pointed out, Christians always had an emphasis on charity in this world. So I mean, Christians invented hospitals and orphanages, so they're taking care of people. And notice, as he just pointed out,
now.
I think
let's go to some tricep extensions. We'll probably do like 3 sets.
Right now, but like 4/5 of the population. Of the
3 sets, and then after that, you gotta do 3 sets.
Oh shit.
Okay, we back. We usually 3 sets after 3 sets of tricep extensions. I usually get to dumbbell press, and I do about like 3 to 4 dumbbell press sets.
They weren't going around and making laws. They just kept freeing slaves. And if someone didn't want to free their slaves, Christians would buy the slaves from them. And they just kept doing that until there were no more slaves.
I feel like crap.
And so if you were starting something somewhere else, you were going to go to the colonies where you could sort of, come up with your own cheap labor source. You had to go somewhere else to get your slaves. So notice, already, you always had slaves in the Greek Empire. You always had slaves in the Roman Empire. It was totally normal. Why does that stop? Like we're talking before America. Why does that stop in Europe? It was just Christians kept freeing slaves because they thought it was bad. And I'm pointing this out because Mar's argument is Christianity just said, put up with all the stuff that sucks in the world because a great afterlife is coming, and this is how it spread. So it took all the things you liked about pagan gods and goddesses, and then added on a super cool afterlife, and that's how it spread. But no, Christians were doing stuff in this world. It wasn't just this promise of the afterlife. So anyway, the point is, this guy's spouting a lot of nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it definitely not just focusing on the afterlife. It's really focused on charity.
And I'm sure we'll get to this, but it's this funny idea because he's going to point a finger at Christians for slavery here.
Let's get the choice up. Come on now. Oh my gosh. Let's watch.
Oh my!
What are we gonna watch? I don't even know what I'm gonna watch. Best of Give Me Answer 5. That's that one dude.
Ruslan.
Bad news for Muslims. What is this? Do atheists understand their own arguments? Should we watch this?
TikTok, time to rock.
Do I hear somebody talking?
Of the Chosen selected a handful of
5 years between the time you became
I gotta sneeze.
white liver. Traditional.
Belief.
Now, up to that point, I was an introvert, painfully shy.
Oh my gosh. Man, I don't even know what to watch. What is this? Nick Jones, Marcus Rogers, Ruslan, and Isaiah.
No, so I just want to share.
What is this? Nick Jones, Gideon. Comedy, what's this? What makes men more / less actors. Wait, what? What should I watch? Like
What's your emergency?
Oh my gosh. Help me! There's a thing that's coming to my house! He's running about. He's running outside! Oh my god!
abusive cop pastor shut down
Will not look at the
office.
city code. You won't look at the city code? You are.
I like apology. I don't even know how to say.
Will not look at the city code. You won't look at the city code?
Apologia
You are engaging
studio.
in thuggish, oppressive, unconstitutional behavior. Officer, you need to repent of your lawless conduct.
Abortion supports
Yeah, ma'am, I reject your
supporters
report.
argue
I
with
reject it.
pastor. Let's watch this.
You have a worldview too. Let's not pretend to be neutral. Yes, I follow Jesus Christ. He's the ultimate authority, absolutely. And you have a worldview as well. You have a secularist worldview, and you're committed to that. I'm not pretending to be neutral, and you shouldn't either. Okay, good. So we have it on the table now. I'm a Christian who follows Jesus Christ.
Let's
He's the
start
ultimate
to work.
authority.
Let's get to work.
You're a secularist. Probably, are you agnostic? Atheist?
Maybe I'm Buddhist.
Okay, Buddhist. Fantastic. So you have a worldview, right? That you're committed to. So we shouldn't pretend that we don't. We let them actually hook up and start talking to one another. That's what we do. So, let's talk about the moral issue.
My triceps already hurt.
At what point is it okay to kill a baby?
But they're like embryo and they're not even like, yes. Or have a heartbeat or anything like that. You know, they have a heartbeat.
No. It's something in my pocket. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, when by science's rules, if you remove that fetus, baby, lump of cells, fluid, whatever you want to call it, remove it from the human body,
Yeah.
it will cease to exist.
Sure.
You can't feed it and clothe it because.
If you throw a baby outside and let it die of exposure, it also dies the same way.
And I said, not because you can feed it and clothe it, because scientifically, it
please go ahead.
Scientifically, if you remove
I'm about to die.
baby,
I'm about to die.
again, whatever you want to call it, from a body's body, at a certain point,
Yes.
kidneys aren't developed. It's lungs aren't developed. It's
Yeah, right.
None of that is developed enough to sustain life.
Right.
Not that if you leave a baby, a 1-year-old on the street and don't feed, that's completely different.
Well, can I respond to that? So your argument is really twofold. One, its level of development is not fully developed yet. And number two, it's still dependent upon the mother. So can I ask you, if I take your foundation, because that's what you gave me.
It's not dependent on the mother, it's dependent on science to keep it alive.
No, not science. Science is a concept. Science isn't a thing, it's a concept. No, our body is not science. Science is a methodology.
Our body's biology.
Science, yes, thank you very, very much. And the biology it's dependent upon is the mother.
Okay.
Is the mother. Science
Tricep
is
extension on the right arm.
Science
Let's get to
is a
work.
word that is it's a word
get to
that
work.
describes an abstraction. It's a methodology. You have to have induction. You have to have the uniformity in nature. You have to use certain tools. It's a word. It's a word that describes a methodology, but it's dependent upon the biology of the mother. Correct? Right. Gotcha. So I'm trying to make sure I understand your position. Your argument is you use science to study biology. You're incorrect there. But the answer to your position, it's not fully developed. I would ask you to be consistent with that. Is a 1-year-old fully developed?
And again, I said,
Yes.
between a 1-year-old, you know that it can survive, it can breathe.
Dude, my triceps on both of my arms are the same size, but my right arm is still
Do
stronger.
you feel
That makes
that way
sense.
about people on life support?
I feel like you have the choice to
And I
choose to
personally
die.
have a deep.
Can I kill a person who's on life support because they're dependent upon it to do the breathing for them?
If they choose yes.
No. Thank you. If they choose. I'm asking you if I'm allowed to murder them. Can I kill them?
Then I find a flaw in your belief.
Please.
Because that person has that choice. They have the thought. Yes.
Did you notice? You didn't hear what I said. You didn't hear what I said. I asked if I'm allowed to murder somebody who's on life support.
But they get to choose.
Thank you. How come you don't let the baby choose?
Because the baby doesn't have a brain.
My point is a person who's on life support also doesn't have a moment of functionality. They can't engage in laws of logic in that moment. They're
He's
not
spitting
able to
facts.
reason. They're dependent
He's-
upon a machine for breathing.
Oh my
And I
gosh,
ask
he's
you
spitting
if
facts.
I'm allowed to kill that person.
And we have laws in place that say
I'm pro-life.
hospitals cannot kill those.
Thank you. Why? Because according to if you thought
Just so y'all know, y'all should be pro-life.
to kill their
It's not.
babies. Thank you.
It's just
Now
common
your argument
sense.
has shifted. Now we're on to something different. And now you're arguing because it's legal, it's moral. How about slavery? It was legal.
Don't talk to me about slavery.
Why not? That's your argument. You said if it's legal, it's moral.
We're not talking about slavery.
You said if it's legal, it's moral.
I didn't say if it was.
You said we have laws that allow them to kill their babies. That's why it should be okay.
You guys like read.
That's what you said.
I didn't say anything about moral.
Ah!
We're not talking
You said because it's legal, women are allowed to kill their babies.
up to a certain point. Yes, we've made that law.
And so I was talking about the moral issue involved when I kill somebody who's dependent upon life support.
So now we're changing the verbiage.
I'm not changing anything, man. I'm just speaking directly to it.
Oh, I don't feel
Yeah,
good.
and you brought up the fact that because it's legal, they're allowed to do it.
And then we switched it to legal and moral.
No, it's listen. All legal issues are moral issues. There's a moral component to every law that's made. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's how it works.
There's a law that says you can stand down here in the street and show dissected up babies
To children. On Wednesday it was to children.
from miscarriages.
This isn't a miscarriage, man. This is an abortion.
You know for a fact
You
that
saw that miscarriage or abortion you took.
Would you like me to show you 5,000 pictures of? Okay, let me. If you.
And I'm asking you, did you?
Yeah.
And do you know that's an abortion?
Did I know? The Center for Bioethical Reform puts these together. You can go
They're so crazy to defend murder.
Done.
They're defending murder.
Video. What's that?
Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's.
I didn't say it because it's on the internet, ma'am. You can see the actual medical procedure. We have lots of videos of those.
So, but that's
You took
specific
that
picture.
from
No, here's my point. If you
No, the point is that
if you contest
Yes.
if you contest these babies' arms and legs from an abortion, if you contest it, I can show you this one.
Why would
This one?
Why would someone performing an abortion?
Why? Here's my question. Why not?
Stop cutting me off.
He's funny.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were
Oh
actually
shoot,
asking me a question.
20%.
Why would someone who's performing an abortion?
Oh shoot, we got 2 people watching. That's crazy. Oh, y'all love me.
They do it every day. They don't need it.
Wow.
This is the size, and let me tell you, I have friends who have carried
Let's get to work.
bags filled with the body parts of babies out from behind abortion clinics when they toss them out to give them a proper burial.
Why would you have friends like that who are so against it?
You didn't hear what I said, ma'am. We have friends that try to give these babies a proper burial. So when these places have destroyed their bodies and thrown them into the dumpster,
So your friends are illegally going into dumpsters and getting bio.
certainly, sure,
They're putting the bio waste in a dumpster.
yeah. No, ma'am. You don't know the nature of this business.
Oh no.
Especially in the 80s. Especially in the 80s.
My entire life.
I'm not talking about your gender. I'm not talking about your gender. I'm talking about the nature
Wow,
of
we
this
look nice. Let me try my phone.
In the 80s,
We look beautiful.
we have lots of friends.
Oh.
We have lots of friends who have been in this fight since the very, very beginning. And they're carrying the bodies of dead babies out of the dumpsters of abortion clinics. Would you like to see the picture of Carmelo? Carmelo's a little baby boy that was saved at Planned Parenthood.
I don't know anything about.
I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story.
You probably don't either. It's
I do. I've held him in my arms.
so that you can.
You don't like the Carmelo story? I'll share you Olivia, Grace, and Kara. Would you like to
Look
see
nice.
twin girls who were saved in this location?
Would you like to see all the kids that are raised in poverty because their
So
mother
they deserve to die.
to raise them?
So they deserve to die. Okay, so now your argument is
Look
if the
nice.
child is
Look
poor,
nice.
they deserve to die.
No, when they don't have.
That's what your argument is.
When they don't have
The
a place
problem
to
is that
sleep
you
and
keep
they're
saying
gonna
child.
get rich.
Well, we're talking about children right now. You said poor children.
Have you?
That's Carmelo.
Excuse me.
Have you traveled?
Oh.
Have you traveled? And
Let me ask you. Should he be dead?
I'm now asking you.
To do that, then that's her choice.
So how about a mother of a 5-year-old? Is it her choice to kill that child?
Yes. 5-year-old can survive.
Let me ask you. No, we're talking about. You said your argument is. I said, should Carmelo be dead? You said if it was her choice to do it, yeah. So I said, okay, let's extend it.
Dang, my teeth is yellow.
5-year-olds?
Again, you're talking
They used to be so white. Now it's yellow.
No. Well, we've already addressed the level of development argument, and you have no response. Yeah.
Are you serious?
So now I want to say, have you traveled?
How about
Are you
travel?
serious right now?
All over the world. Yeah.
Okay.
You see in the poverty.
All
Get one more
over
setting,
the world.
and then
So you see it.
We going to dumbbell press.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you see these shoes
Uh-huh.
and the Amazon where the house is.
I haven't been in Amazon.
Well, we have a shack, and all they have is no windows.
Should they be dead? Okay, so kill the poor kids. Got it. That's your argument.
You're gonna adopt them.
We've actually pled to the mothers inside here for the lives of their babies and said we'll adopt every baby that comes out of here. Our church is committed to it.
So why don't you bring a legal team out here? And
We have a legal team on standby.
Oh, on standby.
On standby.
Yeah, you think that anyone would
So you're telling
agree
me
to that? Oh, we have them on standby.
No. We have a legal team that would be ready to do it completely for free. We wouldn't charge anything. No, it wouldn't cost anything to the mothers.
So this child who had
flick it off the camera is crazy.
was put into peer pressure, had sex, underage, and you're gonna
Or
say
even worse, was molested.
Yeah.
Like this.
The child deserves to die because the father's a criminal. Got your argument.
Did she flick off the camera? I think she did.
underage.
Bro, that's crazy. How you gonna flick off the camera? You're disrespectful.
Was molested by
Yeah.
her disgusting.
So the child deserves to die because the father's a criminal. Got your argument.
So I'm just saying. So this person is supposed to, even if you were adopted, you're telling her, we'll adopt it, but you have to hold
Wait,
it
is that chat?
for that term, all the way until birth. But she can't go to school.
Oh, pimple! Oh,
There's
I have friends
pimple!
who are pregnant at 16.
I love you, bro.
Godmother of
I like it how he's
and
watching.
they had to drop out of school.
I think he's not watching anymore, but that's cool.
The kid you're a godmother to?
Yes.
Wow.
So at one point they were in the womb.
All right, night, bro.
Do you love
Good
these
night.
kids?
Well, obviously.
I'm gonna get one more set into my triceps, and then we go
I
to
was also pregnant at the same
dumbbell
time
press.
because I was stupid. And I
Dumbbell
was
presses, they be
But thankfully,
they be crazy.
because I was able to.
Thankfully you didn't what?
You know what happens to a woman when they
Thankfully you didn't have a So okay, I understand. So you killed your child, and that's why you support Planned Parenthood.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay. So it's you have to forgive me. It's not normal for a person to say, "Thankfully, I had a miscarriage."
Because I was able.
That's an odd thing for a mother to say. Oh no, we live in a fallen world, and God is sovereign. Yes, babies die.
Okay.
People die. People get sick.
Let's get
We live in a fallen world. I'm answering you.
No, you're not. You didn't even let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
I have three of you talking to me at the same time. You have to forgive me.
And three of us, you keep interrupting and talking over and.
No, when I respond to your argument, that's not me talking over you. That's me refuting your position.
Okay.
When all three of you are talking at the
Let's
same
get
time, I don't know which one to
in
hate.
the weights.
My point was
We're gonna look nice.
that, according to all of you God people, that God reached down and said, your body can support a baby.
Bro, are you on the phone? Yes, I am. Yes, indeed.
Spontaneously abort it with your own body.
You're attacking a strong man.
Dude, I can't wait till I get like really, like my dream is to be a big Christian artist, and then once I'm like big and I have a fan base, a big fan base, I wanna stream, so I get to like talk to people. Because when you're homeschooled and you just by yourself and you're pretty lonely, so it's kind of cool. But when you're homeschooled, you got a lot of time to do stuff. Like you could really work, like invest into stocks and do stuff while you're at home. You could really make a business while you're at home.
Natural causes, the baby died in the fallen world. What you're arguing for is with malice and forethought, mothers and fathers should be able to go in there and tear their babies' arms, heads, and legs off.
Because what I was gonna say is if I had that child, I would have been 16. Sorry. With my father who worked every day of his life, every weekend, leave for months just to put food on the table. And my mom worked 3 jobs.
Right.
Is that something that I would have to do with my kid? Because I'm not here to raise my kid.
Do you know?
I have no education.
Do you know of any single mothers right now?
Yes.
They work hard.
Yeah.
Should their babies be dead?
Some of them.
Your argument is because you would have to work hard.
Dang, she says some of the babies should be dead. That's crazy. Just because somebody's a single, just because a single mother is working hard, the baby should be some of the babies should. That's crazy. That's weak.
It's a monologue.
Weak argument. Sloppy.
So I'm giving you a response to what you said.
Jeez, nah.
I have to work 3 jobs.
I had to work 3 jobs, and my kid should be dead.
Okay, let's get into this. Dude, if my pants become brown, y'all already know why. It's because I put my pants doing dumbbell press. If the back of my pants become brown, it's because I pooped my pants, bro. Or if it's red, it's because my butt is bleeding because of how hard I'm squeezing. Like, this is not a joke. Dumbbell press is like traumatizing. It's traumatizing, but when you get the pump, you feel nice.
So, for you, was your parents working 3, 4 jobs?
Yeah.
Did you get made fun of at school?
Yeah, I was bullied in school.
Yeah.
And I'm glad my parents didn't kill me. Huh?
Did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it? Life is tough, guys. We don't kill people because life is tough.
Why do I got that black thing, black box on my
See what you
screen?
have to say. Your argument is fundamentally that because life can be difficult, we ought to
Dumbbell press. I'm actually scared. I'm nervous right now
Have you had a hard
because
life?
I actually have like butterflies in my stomach just because I'm thinking about dumbbell press.
Told you because your life is hard?
Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Your parents should have told you because your life is hard.
No, my life. It would make it easier on them. Instead of working
So your argument is that mothers and fathers should be able to kill children because life is difficult. And that's what you're walking away with. God bless you. I pray that you guys turn from
Walking away. He dominated the argument. That's crazy.
He said, I'll hail Satan for you. And you hope I go to hell with you. I pray that you don't go to
All
hell.
hail.
I pray that you come to
What?
know Christ and his forgiveness. What's
See,
that?
Satan works so crazy. I can't believe Satan actually gets into these people's mind and they. Man, this is why y'all need Jesus Christ. That's.
Well, so we still alive?
All they say all hail Satan because, and they.
That's about the normal.
Bro, this whole world needs Jesus Christ, bro. This whole world needs Jesus Christ. I need Jesus Christ. You, whoever's watching, needs Jesus Christ. Whether you think he's not real, he's real. He's historically real. His resurrection is real. God is real.
So they walk away.
No, we walk away because it's a circular argument and you're narcissistic.
What's a circular
You're a
argument?
narcissist. It's a circular argument. You're a narcissist.
Okay, let's get into
Maybe you're not even making any sense. Can you come explain?
Actually, is it thing pointed to the?
And that's typical.
Okay.
Walk away. They notice that the Christians are on
Beautiful.
the corner, ready to engage, ready to talk, and the Planned Parenthood supporters constantly walk away. They turn their music up.
I'm about to throw up. I'm actually gonna. If I throw up on myself,
You see, your movement is in its death throes.
I'm not. I'm gonna.
Your movement is in
I'm
its
gonna quit
death
this stream
throes.
if I throw up on myself.
This reign of terror upon children will ultimately be over. We pray that you would know forgiveness and peace, reconciliation with God, that you turn from your sins to Christ, that you'd know the one who died for sinners and rose from the dead. You see, God doesn't just rescue your soul. He doesn't just rescue you for Him in eternity with Him. He also rescues your mind. He also rescues your mind from the futile argumentation that you've engaged in to justify the slaughter of children. We pray that you would turn from your sin and trust in Christ. To know the peace and forgiveness that we've experienced. We're sinners just like you. So hopefully you guys can see that you can have confidence to come out here to engage, because their position is futile, it's fallacious, ultimately no foundation, no science. It's interesting, the Planned Parenthood supporters will often cry, we're about science, we're about science. But once you engage in the scientific argumentation, they have no ultimate response. And so what needs to take place is Christians across the country ought to come out to places like this, to plead for the lives of children, and to engage with the gospel. Some of these women.
I'm about to throw up.
You up?
Next video. Is there a next video?
Good.
Let's see.
Did she actually take it? Yeah, she took both. Well, what do you have to say since we're going live? Anything? It seems like...
I like Apologia Studios. It's pretty nice. They're pretty cool. Where's recent uploads? Pastor confronts the pastor responds to Andrew Tate's collision with Andrew Tate and Islam. Amazing conversation with the latter. No, I'm trying to look for something cool, a good topic. Debunking pagan holiday myths with Michael Jones. Oh, Michael Jones is inspiring. I can't.
What's up, everyone? We are super
inspiring
excited
philosophy.
to announce that we will be making our first
What is 20%?
road in Simpsonville, Kentucky, July 28th.
Okay, nice.
At the Called
Okay, let's get in a set before. Let's get in a set. The pump is gonna wear off. If I don't get a set in, let's go.
Holistic or a legalistic this event is free. There will be panel discussions, table discussions, inspiring testimonies, all from Christians who have rebuilt their faith. And even a game night, guys. It's a weekend of rebuilding theology, rebuilding community, and rebuilding faith through God's word. So definitely check that out. Also, Jerry and I, we're going to be speaking there, and we're also super excited to meet you in person. You can register for the conference today at bereanholiness.com/conference. That's BEREAN.com/conference. Also, until May 31st, you can use the promo code Cultish in all caps. $50 off the price. We hope to see you there. Now back to the episode.
David, who says we have friends who do not celebrate Christmas because they say December 25th is really a pagan holiday. While I agree that Jesus may not have been born on December 25th, he certainly was born as described in the Bible. How do I respond to that?
You see, the winter solstice a couple days later was the shortest day of the year, and the pagans had something called Saturday.
Let's get the pump in. Let's see the pump.
It was a time of lawlessness because all the laws.
Is my nose what the? Oh, hold on.
And people, a bunch of sinners actually wandered the streets naked, singing. And then they had orgies, sexual orgies. It was a mass thing. Well, when the Catholic Church came,
Let's see what we look like.
The Romans didn't want to give up their holiday.
When you do dumbbell press, the pump is crazy.
So they said, okay.
Or bench press, whatever. Whatever it is, whatever you're lifting heavy. I'm not really lifting heavy because I did 20 reps. Because that's all the weight I have. But you know, it is what it is.
Census taken when Quirinius was governor and so forth.
Bruh.
And they could take
Come on
those
now.
leaders and figure the
Bro, hold the phone.
dating from the
There we go.
foundation of Rome. And that's when the dates were established. And so they get pretty close to the date. But to say it's the 25th, shepherds were out abiding in the field. It gets a little cold at night. I mean, were they out there in the middle of winter? You know, I don't know. I've been out there on the shepherd's field and on Christmas Eve. It's very nice. But it's cold.
Look at my chest. Oh my goodness.
So,
Chest
all
pump
this
is
business
nice.
about mistletoe,
I like it.
Pagan. Christmas trees, pagan. Giving out gifts, pagan. Every bit of it is pagan.
Okay,
Every
let's get
single
to
bit
next
is
set.
pagan. We've Christianized
After this, I gotta take a shower.
And so that's
Maybe I can get a shower stream.
We celebrate for
I'm joking.
Jesus. Everybody gets all
Okay.
misty-eyed. But the truth is, they're all
Let's get another set.
But the
Oh my
birth of
goodness, I feel like
The intent of the heart
I'm about to
is
throw up
placed
on my
Exactly.
TV
So
screen.
we've Christianized all these things.
Okay,
We
come
give
on.
gifts in the name of Jesus. We celebrate his birthday. And it's a nice thing.
Yes, it's a very nice thing. Welcome back,
Um,
ladies and gentlemen, to Cultures. This
let me-
is part two. Continuing
Michael Jones, Michael Jones.
with Michael Jones from
Michael Jones, inspiring philosophy.
We got a little under an hour.
Okay,
We'll
let's go.
get back to,
Let's go.
Tucson.
Oh, let's go. Let's move this here so we can get the bench.
So Andrew, appreciate you joining us here, man. So let's go ahead and jump into this. This is a clip from Pat Robinson, who's always been very infamous for always putting the fun back into fundamentalism, as always. And I thought it was interesting, man. Let's just jump into it.
Michael
So
Jones, inspiring, bro. I can't say inspiring.
This has been
Inspiring philosophy.
posted and reposted.
Okay, let's
There's
get,
literally
bro.
10 different versions.
If my thing keeps on making this set thing, I mean this 20%. I'm not charging this phone anymore.
Some sort of agenda comes to the idea that pagan holidays
Okay.
are evil. Really kind of.
I don't know what that black thing in the.
specifically around pagan holidays.
I gotta look that up.
So let's just jump into that. What stuck you out about
Oh, let me
this
tighten
event? And,
my weight
from your perspective,
before I
how
die.
do we, address this whole topic of other holidays as well too, under other pseudo claims.
Well, the first thing you know as fundamentalists is it basically means no fun,
Strengthen me,
too much damn, and no
strengthen me,
mental.
strengthen me, strengthen me.
And that's generally what we get here in
Strengthen
this
me on
clip.
this last set.
Everything he said is practically wrong. For one thing, Saturnalia was on December 17th. It was never on December 25th. Never, according to early authors like Macrobius or the Julio-Claudian fasting inscriptions,
Okay,
it started on
let's get
December 17th and it lasted for 3 days to a week. So the longest it would have gone is to December 24th, never on the 25th. We have no records of Christians ever wanting to Christianize Saturnalia. Laws were not suspended on Saturnalia. You couldn't murder the emperor. Okay, it would still have been illegal. What happened on Saturnalia is sort of like a role reversal. Like they would take a slave, prance him around as like the king for the day kind of thing, and some masters would also serve slaves. It was like a big thing. But yeah, nothing to do with Christmas trees or Christmas customs. The reason why December 25th is to celebrate Jesus' birthday is early Christians actually thought that was the date. We see this in works like the chronology before, on solstices and equinoxes. There's a scholar named Thomas Schmidt who worked with
I'm about to die.
Rome's work, the Chronicon. This is based on the calculations in here. They would have calculated.
Okay, I'm about to end stream soon.
December 25th. Right.
I'm about to
This
end
is
stream.
just why we picked the day. It had nothing to do with the pagan holiday. And ironically, they picked a day for which we have no evidence there was a pagan holiday.
Let's get to posing real quick, because I got a nice pump.
After Constantine, the Philocalian calendar chronology.
Well, I got this thing on my screen. It's so dumb. What is this?
Here's what you gotta keep in mind. What's sort of weird is we have no references
Some
to
bullcrap.
December 25th in the
What is that?
2nd century prior to Constantine. All of a sudden after Constantine, we have references to a pagan holiday on December 25th in this work, that work. Macrobius mentioned something. We have Epiphanius mentioned something.
Bro.
We have Julian the Apostate mentioning stuff. All of a sudden, numerous references to Sol Invictus.
What is that on my...
Hold on, actually?
Absolutely nothing. It's just as equally likely, I would say probably more plausible, that when Constantine took over and Christianized the empire, and they started celebrating the incarnation on the 25th according to Christian traditions, pagans just
I did it!
Okay, we're gonna do a nice pose.
was the winter solstice according
Let's
to
get into
Julian calendar,
posing.
So why not? Right. So it's
Okay.
just as likely that this was once a pagan appropriation.
Dude, who's the one person watching?
Very interesting. And real question is, you've done a little research, and a lot of times you see, the claims being made about certain types of. We're going to talk just, for example, a little bit about Christmas, about very similar argumentation. Like, what have you seen in your research about maybe questions that you have about specific claims about Christmas traditions that are utilized, that are pagan?
Okay, nice.
Michael?
Yeah. I want to know what is Sol Invictus? How is that celebrated?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious on that.
Yeah, so Sol Invictus is basically it was basically a celebration of the unconquered sun. So there was a Roman deity that was Sol, basically the sun deity. Wasn't Mithra, okay? Sol and Mithra were two entirely different deities, despite what people today will tell you. And so in the Philocalian calendar, all it says is 30 games ordered for the birthday of the unconquered one. So it was a day where they would play sort of games, chariot races perhaps, honoring the sun. Prior to that, the Emperor Aurelian is said to have established Sol Invictus around 274 AD. But again, we have no record here of this. Well, the Philocalian calendar actually says that Aurelian worshipped the sun with chariot races in October every 4 years. No evidence of ever establishing Sol Invictus on December 25th. So it's basically just a game to honor the sun. And again, it seems to have come about around 350, sometime around post-Constantine, probably to compete with the Christians.
Wow, so it's similar to Easter and some of the appropriation made from modern pagans, let's say from the hyssop that you talked about with the mythology, where they will go back and say,
I'm about to end stream.
This was something that
good night, guys.
Whoever
watching. Good night to anyone who's watching.
The actual opposite. It seems that they're trying to take the holidays
God bless.
from Christians when it wasn't their holiday to begin with.
We'll see this with modern pagans that celebrate Yule. So they'll be